Okay, so I usually just lurk on r/IDontWorkHereLady, but something wild happened to me last week at Walmart that I just had to share. Picture this. I'm there, wrangling my infant son, Leo, who's teetering on the edge of a full-blown naptime meltdown. My cart is already overflowing with diapers, wipes, and enough baby food to stock a small bunker. All I want to do is grab a new toy to distract him and escape before he turns into a screaming gremlin. I was trying to cut through the women's clothing section, hoping to bypass the main crush of shoppers when it happened. Out of nowhere, this elderly woman, probably in her late 70s, with a formidable purple perm and eyes that screamed, "I mean business," practically body checks my cart. Finally, she huffed, her voice cutting through the store's muzak. "I've been looking for someone helpful for ages. You look like you know what you're doing. I need one of those comfort bras for my daughter. The ones for, well, for after the baby." My brain, already half fried from sleep deprivation and the constant vigilance of keeping a baby alive, took a second to process. Oh hell no, I thought. Not today. I gestured weakly at my overflowing cart, then at Leo, who was starting to whimper. "Excuse me, ma'am, I actually don't work at Walmart. I'm just trying to shop with my son." She waved a dismissive hand like I was trying to shirk my duties. "Nonsense, dear. Don't be shy. Just point me to where those special bras are." My daughter says they're a lifesaver, but I haven't the foggiest idea where to begin. She even tugged lightly on my arm, her grip surprisingly firm. Leo let out a full-on wail. I stood there, momentarily stunned. I mean, I could just walk away, but she was insistent, and honestly, the thought of trying to navigate a yelling baby and a stubbornly mistaken elderly woman was just too much. Plus, she looked genuinely a bit lost, despite her demanding tone. Fine, I sighed internally. Just get it over with. All right, I said, forcing a weary smile. Follow me. I think you mean the nursing bras. They're usually in the intimate apparel section near the maternity clothes. Her face brightened, and she finally let go of my arm. Yes, that's it, nursing bras? Oh, thank heavens you knew. She started power walking, and I, pushing Leo's stroller, struggled to keep up. We eventually made it to the undergarment aisle, which, naturally, was right at the other end of the store. I pointed to a display. They're usually grouped by size and style. You're looking for something with easy access clasps for breastfeeding. I even demonstrated how one of them worked. She squinted at the tags. "Are you sure this is the right kind? My daughter is a very specific size, you know. And she said they're supposed to be soft." She was still talking to me like I was a seasoned lingerie specialist who clocked in at Walmart every day. As I was patiently explaining the difference between a t-shirt nursing bra and a sleep bra, Leo, bless his heart, decided to reach out and grab a loose diaper from my cart, waving it around like a tiny white flag. The elderly woman followed his gaze to my cart, then back to my tired eyes, then to Leo clutching the diaper. Her purple perm seemed to deflate a little. "Oh," she said, a slow realization dawning on her face. "Oh my goodness. You really don't work here, do you?" Her whole demeanor changed in an instant. The demanding edge completely vanished, replaced by genuine mortification. "I am so sorry, dear, I just assumed. With your helpfulness, and you being so knowledgeable, and with your little one, I just thought I'm so terribly embarrassed." I couldn't help but crack a small, tired laugh. "It's okay, ma'am. Happens more often than you'd think, especially with this uniform," I joked, gesturing to my jeans and t-shirt. "But yeah, I'm just a mom trying to get through the day." She genuinely apologized again, profusely this time. "Well, bless your heart for helping me anyway. I don't know what I would have done." We ended up chatting for a few more minutes while she picked out a few options. Her name was Doris, and she was indeed buying for her daughter, who had just had her first baby. She even shared a quick story about how her own mother had struggled with breastfeeding back in the day. We parted ways, both of us smiling, though I was still completely exhausted. I figured that was the end of it, a classic "I don't work here lady" story with a surprisingly sweet ending. But here's the kicker. A few days later, I took Leo to the local park. He was toddling around with some other kids when I looked up and saw a familiar purple perm. It was Doris. She recognized me instantly. Oh, it's you, my little lifesaver from Walmart, she exclaimed, waving. Her daughter was there, pushing a stroller with a tiny newborn inside. We had a good laugh about the whole Walmart encounter, and I even got to meet her daughter, who was super grateful for the bra advice. As we chatted, it turned out Doris's daughter lived in the same neighborhood as me, and her older child actually went to the same preschool as Leo will next year. What are the odds? We exchanged numbers, and Doris and I have actually grabbed coffee a couple of times since. She's hilarious, full of stories, and surprisingly has become a really sweet friend. Who knew getting mistaken for a Walmart employee could lead to such a lovely connection? So yeah, sometimes a really awkward "I don't work here lady" moment can actually turn into something truly unexpected and wonderful. Just thought I'd share. Hope you guys get a kick out of it.
This next one had Reddit losing its mind. Quick pause, subscribe now, because the chaos doesn't stop here.
All right, folks, strap in. I thought I'd seen it all in my years of people watching, but what I witnessed last night at my local was a masterclass in entitlement. This woman, I swear, could curdle milk with a single glance and probably get a refund for it. I just settled into my usual spot at the Whiskey Barrel, a place steeped in so much history you can practically taste the old-school charm in the air. The low hum of chatter, the clink of glasses, it was the perfect balm after a long week. I was sipping my customary neat bourbon, lost in a pleasant haze of nostalgia when she walked in. Her voice, a grating, entitled whine, preceded her by a good 10 seconds. She marched straight to the bar, not even bothering with a glance around, and immediately started tearing into poor Liam, the bartender. Liam, bless his weary soul, usually has the patience of a saint, but I could see his shoulders tensing. "This is not what I asked for," she squawked, pushing a half-empty coffee glass across the counter. "The cream isn't creamy enough, and honestly, the coffee tastes sad. Just plain sad." Then she launched into a bizarre demand for change. "And when you re-ring that up, because you will be re-ringing that up, I need $5 back in singles, 2 in quarters, and the rest in dimes. Specifically." Liam, looking like he'd just wrestled a badger, mumbled an apology. "Ma'am, I can certainly remake your coffee, and I'll see about the change." "Don't ma'am me," she snapped. "Just do your job." The whole bar went quiet. You could feel the collective cringe. Liam, in a desperate attempt to defuse the atomic bomb he was clearly dealing with, offered, "You know what? I'm so sorry for the trouble. How about 2 Irish coffees on the house?" My treat? A normal person would have probably done a double take, then gushed thanks. Not this one. She muttered something under her breath about finally getting somewhere, but the scowl never left her face. Liam, a flicker of defeat in his eyes, whipped up the Irish coffees. He set them down with another strained apology, probably hoping she'd just evaporate. That's when her beady eyes, still radiating pure dissatisfaction, cut through the smoky air and locked onto me. I was minding my own business, enjoying my drink, practically invisible. She pointed a manicured claw right at my chest. "You?" she commanded, her voice piercing the silence again. "Get me a spoon for this." I blinked. She wasn't just asking, it was a flat-out order, like I was her personal butler. I stared at her, then at Liam, who looked like he wanted to hide under the bar. "Sorry, ma'am," I said, trying to keep my voice even, "but I don't work here." Her face, already a landscape of perpetual displeasure, contorted into a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. It was as if I'd just insulted her mother and stolen her last cookie. She sputtered for a second, then let out an indignant huff, snatched one of her free Irish coffees, and practically stomped out of the bar, leaving the other one untouched. The silence she left behind was almost deafening. Liam finally exhaled, looking like he'd just survived a shark attack. "Unbelievable," he muttered, shaking his head. A guy a few stools down from me leaned over. "You know what she needed?" he drawled, a smirk playing on his lips. Liam should have just launched a spoon at her. Direct hit. We all chuckled, a collective release of tension. Honestly, it made me wonder, does she go through life like this, just radiating pure negativity, expecting the world to bend to her every whim? And does it work? She did get free drinks, Is rudeness her superpower? Whatever it is, it's a hell of a way to live. Me? I'll stick to being nice. It costs nothing and makes the whiskey taste a whole lot better. And as for that spoon, well, she never did get one. Probably for the best. Who knows what kind of mayhem she would have stirred up with it.
The first thing I heard wasn't my name being called for my takeout order, but a sharp, insistent tap on my shoulder, followed by a voice dripping with impatience. "Excuse me," she demanded, not quite yelling, but definitely projecting. "Do you know when my order will be ready?" I blinked, momentarily pulled from my delicious mental image of butter chicken and garlic naan. I was just sitting there, halfway slouched in one of those surprisingly comfy waiting chairs at my local Indian takeout place, absolutely starving. It was a trek to get here, and I was so close to glorious carb-filled bliss. "Oh, I'm sorry," I managed, trying to be polite. "But I don't actually work here. I'm just a customer, same as you." This woman, let's call her Karen, squinted at me like I just confessed to stealing her lunch money. Her arms crossed, a muscle twitching in her jaw. "Well, you certainly look like you work here," she huffed, her tone already shifting from impatient to accusatory. "You should go ask the staff about my order. I've been waiting for ages." I just stared. I was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, for crying out loud. No uniform, no name tag, no visible connection to the restaurant whatsoever. "Seriously, ma'am, I don't work here. I'm waiting for my food." She didn't back down, not an inch. Instead, she took a step closer, her voice dropping but somehow gaining more venom. "Don't play dumb with me. You're just being lazy, aren't you? Or maybe you just can't speak English properly." Okay, that hit different. Not only was she doubling down on the "I work here" nonsense, but she was now questioning my intelligence and, implicitly, my ethnicity. My initial polite bewilderment quickly curdled into genuine annoyance. "Lady, I am not an employee. I am a customer, like you. And yes, I speak English perfectly well. I tried to keep my voice even, but my blood pressure was definitely climbing." By now, the quiet hum of the restaurant had started to feel thick with other people's attention. A few heads were turning, a couple of hushed whispers. The line cook, busy with a sizzling wok, even glanced over, then wisely looked away. Karen, however, was oblivious to the growing audience. She just kept at me, harping on about her supposed long wait and how incompetent the staff, meaning me apparently, was. "This is ridiculous," she spat, her voice rising again. "I'm going to report you. You're clearly just trying to avoid your job." Before I could even formulate a suitably exasperated response, another customer, a stern-looking woman in a business suit who had been patiently waiting for her own order, stepped forward. "Ma'am," she said, her voice calm but firm, "he told you he doesn't work here. Back off?" You'd think that would have been enough, right? Nope. Karen rounded on the new intervener, a fresh target for her rage. "Stay out of this. This gentleman here is clearly trying to pull a fast one." It was at that precise moment, thankfully, that one of the actual employees, a young guy who usually manned the counter, emerged from the back. He took in the scene, me looking utterly bewildered and pissed off, Karen red-faced and gesticulating wildly, and the other customer trying to play peacemaker. "Is everything all right here?" he asked, his voice even though his eyes betrayed a flicker of concern. "No, it's not all right," Karen shrieked, pointing dramatically at me. "This man refuses to help me with my order and is being incredibly rude." The employee glanced at me, then back at Karen. "Ma'am, he's a customer. He doesn't work here." Karen scoffed. "Oh, now you're covering for him. This whole place is a joke. I want my money back, and I want him fired." The employee's expression hardened. "Ma'am, you need to calm down. You're harassing another customer. If you don't stop and wait your turn like everyone else, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "You can't do that," she roared, her face almost purple now. "I can and I will," he said, his voice flat. "If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police for disturbing the peace and harassment." That seemed to be the final straw. With a guttural sound that was somewhere between a growl and a gasp, Karen stomped her foot, unleashed a string of obscenities that would make a sailor blush, and then, inexplicably, hurled a truly vile racial slur at me before spinning on her heel and storming out the door, slamming it shut behind her. The silence that followed was deafening. The other customers just stared, mouths agape. The employee let out a slow, shaky breath. "Oh my God," he murmured, running a hand through his hair. He looked at me, a genuine apology in his eyes. "Dude, I am so sorry about that. Are you okay?" I just nodded, still reeling from the sudden hateful outburst. My appetite had taken a serious hit. "Look," he said, moving closer to the counter, "that was completely uncalled for. Please, your order's on the house. Consider it an apology on behalf of sanity." He even threw in a free mango lassi, which honestly was a thoughtful touch. As I finally sat down again, my free and now slightly belated butter chicken in front of me, I couldn't help but shake my head. Some people, man, it just blows my mind how quickly some folks jump to conclusions and how entitled they can get, and how easily they slide into full-blown rage and bigotry when challenged. All I wanted was some delicious Indian food, and I ended up getting a masterclass in human delusion. At least I got a free meal out of it and a hell of a story for you guys.
If you liked this video, you'll want to check this one out next.